Okay, before going on to Chapter 3, we want to say a couple comments. Hopefully at this point you've gotten your score on the second exam. Take a look. Obviously it makes a difference. It's a good sense of, gives you a good idea how you're doing in the class so far. Hopefully you did well, and if you did, that's great. Continue to work hard and see if you can do as well or better next time. If on the other hand you did not do as well as you would have liked, you need to come up with some strategies to do better. And this is mainly about practicing the exercises and thinking about what you're doing. You really need to let yourself make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. Looking over answers does very little, if anything. Actually, you got to do the problems, test yourself, and see how you're doing. I'm sure there'll be times where you're not clear why you've made a mistake, and then you need to appeal to me first and foremost to get help. You can also get a tutor in the Learning Center, probably even at this point in the semester, and that's an excellent idea. I would also suggest working with classmates. That's very often a helpful thing to do. So consider those three. Again, the primary thing is putting in the time, but quality time, thinking about what you're doing. All right, let's go ahead with the basics of the first section of Chapter 3 here. In this section, we learn some symbols and practice changing sentences into logical symbols here. Symbols are going to be different. We're not using Venn diagrams. Instead, we're using these 5 symbols. This one, a V, that stands for or. In related words or notions, we're going to have to talk about this. This is a little bit of language work here in this first section. We're going to get to just sort of doing the more mathematical stuff coming up, but definitely part of the picture, part of the expectations for this unit are learning to work with language and understand how it works logically. All right, another symbol. Squiggle, sometimes called tilde. That corresponds at core to the word not. Then we'll have a dot, like that. That corresponds to the word and. Perhaps you can see at this point we are roughly starting fresh here. And that's a good thing, I suppose. If you're frustrated having trouble with what happened last time, we will have to come back to that for an exam. If you did well, you got to learn some new things here. So, in any case, it's important here, beginning. Right, we also have a triple bar, like that, and that corresponds to, at core, if and only if. Finally, we have a horseshoe, which corresponds to if then, in a particular way. Let me just go ahead and sketch it up. If I write A horseshoe B, that corresponds to if A, then B. The order of an if-then matters, and that's going to be one of the most important things we take a look at and keep in mind. Take a basic example. If I say if I have $9, then I have an odd number of dollars. It's not the same thing as saying if I have an odd number of dollars, then I have $9. First one's true, second one's false. Maybe that's a good core example to keep in mind. Alright, let's go ahead and knock off these basic exercises over here. First one says, if Saturday's class will be intense, then Monday's lesson will be easy. Okay, I'll show you 2 ways here. More abbreviated version first. Saturday's class will be intense. What we do in this section is when we have an entire claim, a proposition, not a category, like Sundays, which is neither true nor false. We have a claim where we have a subject and a predicate, also known as a proposition. Okay, there's a few more details on that in the book, but let's go ahead and abbreviate this as S. Well, let's S stand for Saturday's class will be intense. Second proposition in this sentence is Monday's lesson will be easy. We'll abbreviate that sort of intuitively with an M. First letter of the first word, basically. Setting aside, as I say in the book, like the, this, that, words, as well as, of course, logical words. We don't want to use think that if and then, which are logical words, are part of the actual propositions. And then what we just say is, since I have if Saturday's class will be intense, if S, then Monday's lesson will be easy, then M, if S then M, in other words, I just write S, horseshoe, M. Okay, we'll leave it at that for now. This time I'm going to go ahead and write it out. I have dogs are mean, or Sundays are really tasty. My two propositions are dogs are mean, which I'll call D. This kind of formality could have been done, and it is good to do, especially when starting out, and also on more complicated and tricky ones where it's not clear what the propositions are, similar to last time where it wasn't clear exactly what the categories are. That's when it's good to write it out. This time I'm going to say S is for Sundays are really tasty. And then I have D or S, and our symbol for or is the V. So that's how I do that one. Okay, notice that, for example, if you look at the first two problems, I let S stand for two separate claims within a given problem or argument. You wouldn't do that. That would make what S stands for ambiguous, really contradictory. But for two separate problems, it's not an issue. Okay, with time constraints here, I'm going to go ahead and abbreviate our two claims. Logic is important as L. Gas prices are going higher is the second claim in this third problem here. I'll abbreviate that G. And then I just have L and G. Symbol for and is the dot. So it looks like that. All right. Third claim here, we have logic is important. If and only if math is important. I'll go ahead and write this one out here. L, let's stand for logic is important. That's a single claim with no logical words in it. That's what we want. Easy to forget about the word not. When the word not appears within a claim, we want to take that out of our abbreviations. So we go with the basic propositions and then sort of bring out or show that not, that negation idea. I'm going to say let M stand for math is important. And then I just use my symbols. If and only if is triple bar, and my abbreviations getting L, triple bar, M. All right, these are more basic exercises like will occur at the beginning of the exercise sets, as well as more so in the first and second set there. All right, this time there are 7 days in a week. There are really kind of a general expression. So I'm going to go ahead and let this S stand for 7 days in a week. Second claim here is there are, skip the not, less than 2 days in a week. I'm going to call that L. And then what I'm going to get here, maybe I'll write out what the abbreviations are, but I will have S, horseshoe, not L. Take a look at that. That's what we would get. I'm going to go ahead and write out what L is. S is pretty clear there. There are 7 days in a week. L is there are less than 2 days in a week. Less than 2 days in a week. All right, take a look and think about those. We'll get some more complications with commas, as well as thinking about the order of an if-then as we go forward into the second grouping.